Welcome aspirants, welcome to SRIRAM IAS YT channel. For today's One PYQ day series, today is the day of disaster management, and that is why I am here to talk about one previous year question which has appeared in Mains 2016 for today's discussion in the class. Let's directly jump into our question which was asked, and the question was the frequency of urban floods due to high intensity rainfall is increasing over the years. Discussing the reasons for urban floods, highlight the mechanisms for preparedness to reduce the risk during such events. This is a very interesting question which is even now relevant in 2025. In 2016, the format of the exam was different. In mains, there were in each paper, GS paper 3 for example, there were 20 questions, not 25. 20 questions were there, each of 12.5 marks for 200 words. We will stick to the word limit which has been mentioned here. However, now you have either 150 words answer or 250 words answer. So again, we will read the frequency of urban floods due to high intensity rainfall is increasing over the year. This is the definitive statement. It's a definitive statement which they have mentioned, that because of what? High intensity rainfall, frequency is increasing. They have identified a reason for the floods. Then they are saying discuss. Discuss is the key word. Discuss, operative word. The reasons for urban floods, first half of the question. Then highlight the mechanism for preparedness to reduce the risk during such events. How would you start the writing of the answer for this question? You will start with an introduction. Obviously, introduction, body, conclusion format is always good. So we follow that model. So introduction will be what? Generally, in introduction, these type of questions, we build up upon what they have already mentioned, the definitive statement. So here you will talk about or describe what is an urban flood is. What is an urban flood? It is the inundation of land, urban land, buildings, infrastructure because of either excessive rainfall, which they have mentioned. It could be because of coastal flooding. It could be because of cloud burst. It could be because of glacial lake outburst. It could be because of many other reasons. But here, either 2 or 3 you will mention and then will move away, because they have specifically said it is because of high intensity rainfall. So describe what is urban flood. Description. Urban flood is inundation of what? Buildings, properties, infrastructure in urban areas due to high intensity rainfall. क्योंकि यहाँ पे उन्होंने मेंशन किया, यू कैन ऑल्सो मेंशन कोस्टल फ्लडिंग के कारण भी होता है, क्लाउड बस्ट के कारण भी होता है. Then you will come into the body. You will address the demand of the question, that is, discuss the reasons. You will mention the reasons why urban floods are increasing. Here you will mention all the reasons that you know. First and foremost would be climate change. Because of climate change, what is happening? That weather related disasters, their frequency, intensity, duration, impact is increasing. तो यहां पे हम मेंशन करेंगे क्लाइमेट चेंज वाले इशू पे. इसकी वजह से भी ऐसा हो रहा है. लोकलाइज रेनफॉल एक्सेस में हो रही है these days. Just look at what has happened in Punjab in this year alone. This was 2016. In 2025, just look at what has happened in Punjab. So reason है, climate change एक बहुत बड़ा reason है. फिर urban design, urbanization by default in India and around the world also is what? Jungles of concrete, impervious structure बनाए जाते हैं. जब concrete की roads होगा, सब कुछ concrete होगा, it will not absorb the water. जब पानी गिरेगा, excessive rainfall होगा, it will not absorb. तो जो runoff water है, surface के ऊपर जो बह रहा है, वो बढ़ जाएगा. And because of which urban floods come. तो urban design is at fault here. तीसरा रीजन यहां पे जो बनेगा वो है ड्रेनेज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के इश्यूज के साथ. ड्रेनेज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज आउटडेटेड. There is no proper maintenance, proper cleaning. There is no preparedness by the municipal corporations across the country before the monsoon, because of which these are choked. When they are choked, obviously, they cannot cope with the excessive rainfall. Just look at what happens in Gurgaon, Delhi NCR region. Yeah, these days we call it Gurugram. Drainage infrastructure, serious problem. Then the urban governance. This is also at fault. This is also of bygone era. The master plan upon which Delhi, the national capital of India, the drainage system and all the other capacities are designed, it was built in 1978. 1978 master plan of Delhi is the guiding document. The new master plan is under discussion, under review right now. तो अर्बन गवर्नेंस के इश्यूज हैं. You don't have properly trained man force, lack of machines proper, high intensity pumps की जरूरत होती है कई बार ये excess flood water को बाहर करने के लिए. We lack that also. तो बहुत सारे इश्यूज अर्बन गवर्नेंस के हैं यहाँ पे. अनरूली अर्बनाइजेशन होता है. जो इंक्रोचमेंट है रिवर बेड्स का, जो फ्लड प्लेन एरिया होता है रिवर्स का, इट्स अ सीरियस इशू इन अर्बन एरियाज. बंगलुरु, हैदराबाद, चेन्नई, कलकत्ता, Delhi, it's a serious issue which we neglect. The encroachment of green areas and blue areas, wetlands, river flood zone, etc., which causes a lot of problem. When you will capture the flood zone area of the river, obviously when there will be a flood in the river, the excess water will breach the banks and it will spread all over that area. And particularly the low-lying area will be under the flood immediately after the serious rainfall in that area. तो सीरियस प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे होती है, अर्बन गवर्नेंस की वजह से ये होती है. तो क्लाइमेट चेंज, अर्बन डिजाइन, ड्रेनेज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, अर्बन गवर्नेंस, these are the most prominent reasons for what? Urban floods. You can also talk about the coastal flooding, सुनामी की वजह से in coastal cities, that is also a problematic part. Yes, ये भी एक बहुत सीरियस इशू है. तो ये सारे फैक्टर कंबाइंड यहां जो रीजंस हैं वो हमने मेंशन कर दिए. These are the reasons for urban flooding. Now the second part of the question is they are asking you to highlight the mechanisms for preparedness. They are asking you to highlight the mechanism for preparedness. So we will now mention the mechanism for preparedness, how we can prepare to mitigate these risks. So mechanisms which they are there to how you will prepare to reduce the risk during such events. How will you do that? First and foremost case in disaster management is what? Early warning. If you have early warning systems in place like satellites, like Doppler radars, which can tell you about the upcoming rainfall or the possibilities of cloudburst or the possibilities of or probabilities of mini cloudburst, which is a good thing. So early warning systems के ऊपर investment करना बहुत जरूरी है. That is something which is should be there in any case. अर्बन फ्लडिंग के साथ दूसरा जो इशू है वो है क्रिएशन और बेसिकली द सिस्टमेटिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ऑफ अर्बन डिजाइन. तो जो अर्बन डिजाइनिंग प्रिंसिपल्स हैं उन्हें चेंज करने की हमें जरूरत है. ज्यादा से ज्यादा ये जो इम्पीरियस स्ट्रक्चर होता है, कंक्रीट की रोड स्लैब्स होती हैं, इनको हटा के या इनको मिटिगेट करके कम करके कम्युनिटी गार्डन्स बनाए जाएं, स्पॉन्ज सिटीज बनाई जाएं, रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग की जाए, अर्बन डिजाइन और नए बड़े ड्रेनेज के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाए जाएं, कीपिंग इन माइंड द क्लाइमेट चेंज. तब जाके यू कैन मिटिगेट द रिस्क ऑफ अर्बन फ्लड्स. तीसरा, community participation is very important. You have to educate the community, you have to train the workforce, you have to raise the finances. ये सारे काम आपको करने पड़ेंगे, तब जाके रिस्क जो है वो मिटिगेटेड होगा. Then you have to go for more greening of the urban areas, ताकि green cover बढ़ाया जाए, because greenery or the trees plays a very important role. They hold on the sand, first of all the soil, और उसके बाद वो बहुत बड़े तौर पे एक स्पॉन्ज का काम वहां पे करते हैं, दे अट्रैक्ट और इन वे होल्ड ए लॉट ऑफ वाटर देयर। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा रोल है, ग्रीनिंग करने की जरूरत है, ग्रीन कवर को बढ़ाने की जरूरत है। ये जो जितने इंक्रोचमेंट के एरियाज हैं इनको कम करने की जरूरत है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा हमें वेटलैंड क्रिएट करने की जरूरत है, एंड दे हैव देयर ओन इकोसिस्टम सर्विसेज दैट दे प्रोवाइड व्हिच हैज इमेंस बेनिफिट इन एनी केस। Then innovative solutions could be there, like climate insurance to tackle or mitigate the risk. Infrastructure like building companies, these days they are talking about climate insurance, that in case of any climate related disaster eventuality, they pool their resources, and like any other health insurance or vehicle insurance, basically it mitigate the risk. So climate insurance will mitigate the risk as well. And we need to invest in what? Disaster risk reduction. By doing what? By doing sustainable urban designing, by investing in climate resilient infrastructure, primarily these kind of things, which in a way confirms with the Sendai framework of disaster risk reduction, and which is also in consonance with the India's national policy for disaster management 2009 and the plans that are in place like 2019 plan for disaster management. So all the important documents that we know of disaster reduction or disaster mitigation, उनको यहाँ पे हमें मेंशन करना। ये क्वेश्चन जो है हालांकि ये किसका है? जीएस पेपर 3 का है। अर्बनाइजेशन जो पार्ट है वो जीएस पेपर 1 का भी हिस्सा है, लेकिन ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था जीएस पेपर 3 के अंदर, इसीलिए इसमें हम पूरी जो अप्रोच है वो डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट की लेंगे। तो डिजास्टर रिस्क रिडक्शन के लिए सारे काम आपको करने पड़ेंगे, डिजास्टर रेजिलिएंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा, नए फाइनेंशियल मॉडल्स निकालने पड़ेंगे, आपकी अर्बन डिजाइनिंग चेंज होगी, गवर्नेंस को रिफॉर्म करना पड़ेगा, इंस्टीट्यूशनल बिल्डिंग करनी पड़ेगी, ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट करना पड़ेगा लोगों में, प्रोसेसेस में, पॉलिसीज में, तब जाके जो रिस्क है वो मिटिगेट होगा। क्योंकि क्लाइमेट चेंज हमारे पास है, इट इज देयर टू स्टे, इट विल बी स्टे फॉर कंसिडरेबल पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, एंड आवर सिटीज विच आर इंजन्स ऑफ ग्रोथ, इंजन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्टिविटी, दे सफर्स बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट? अर्बन फ्लडिंग। तो ये चैलेंजेस को मिटिगेट करना जरूरी, और इंटीग्रेटेड एक अप्रोच रखनी, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट को चाहे हो या फिर वो डिफरेंट अदर डिपार्टमेंट्स हो उस सिटी के अंदर, और डिफरेंट सिटीज का कीपिंग इन माइंड द क्लाइमेट एरियाज वेयर दे आर लोकेटेड, दे शुड हैव disaster risk reduction plans in place. So this is how you go for what? Mentioning, highlighting the mechanisms of preparedness, और लास्ट में कंक्लूजन में लिख दोगे that Indian cities need to be future ready, climate proof by investing in people, processes, policies combined. That's how you conclude an answer. You can conclude either way. You can talk about climate resilient infrastructure, you can talk about the vision plans for the Indian cities of the future, smart city project को भी यहाँ mention कर सकते हैं हम कि कैसे उसमें भी ये बात कही जाती है। So urbanization का जो idea है, it needs to go through systematic transformation. That's all. I hope all of you got the gist of the question and how to write within the prescribed word limit. A lot of can be written in this answer, but by breaching the word limit, you don't have to breach the word limit. जितना word limit है उसके अंदर ही लिखना। You can join me on my Telegram channel as well to stay in connect. Thank you for giving me the time.